Arizona Diamondbacks first baseman Paul Goldschmidt, right, gets brushed back by a pitcher's Cleveland Indians catcher Yan Gomes, left, reaches out for the ball during the first inning of a spring training baseball game Tuesday, March 27, 2018, in Phoenix. The game ended in a 3-3 tie. AP photo, Rusty Franklin. It's opening day, and the expectations have spiked for the Arizona Diamondbacks. A year ago, nobody knew what would come of manager Torey Lovullos and GM Mike Hazen's first season on the job, but the D-backs' run to the NLDS set the bar high heading into 2018. With that, we asked radio hosts and producers at 98.7 FM Arizona's sports station to give one last analysis of the offseason and their predictions for the year ahead. How many games will the D-backs win this season? Dave Burns, co-host of Burns, Martinez and the uncertainty of the bullpen. If the pen can be as good as it was a year ago, I could easily see them surpassing 86 wins, but I'm just not sure how the new back-end relievers, Boxberger and Hirano, will do. Vince Marotta, co-host of Bickley, Martinez will be felt, but let's remember that Arizona played .570 baseball last year before making the trade in July. With another year of their effective rotation intact, the D-backs should be formidable in 2018. John Gambadoro, co-host of Burns. Most notably, the loss of Martinez will make this team take a dip in the win column, but not by much. 86 wins. Luke Lipinski, host of The Rundown. 89 Doug Franz, co-host of Doug. They'll be a better team than they were last year, but the division has been restored. What place will the D-backs finish in the NL West? Is that in the playoffs? Dave Burns, they'll finish second in the NL West, but their 86 wins will be good enough for the second wildcard spot. Vince Marotta, that's a second-place finish in the NL West behind the Dodgers and good for one of the National League wildcard spots. John Gambadoro, third place. No playoffs. Jordan Bird, even if the Dodgers underperform, there's no doubt that they are the class of the NL West division. That being said, it's a three-team race for second place between the Diamondbacks, Rockies and Giants. I think the D-backs will have enough to finish ahead of the rest of that group and take the runner-up spot to LA in the division. That will be good enough to get the Snakes into the postseason, but only as the second wildcard team. Luke Lipinski, second, and yes, that gets them in a wildcard spot. Doug Franz, third. Noron Wolfley, second. Paul Calvisi, third place. Mike Jurecki, third in the NL West behind the Dodgers and Rockies, missing the postseason. They'll be in contention until the end of August. Who is an under-the-radar player you have high hopes for in 2018? Dave Burns, selfishly, Boxberger, because I drafted him to be one of my closers on my fantasy team. But nobody cares about that. Boxberger is certainly one of the players for me because he's being asked to fill a very important role, a role that he was given over one of the most popular pro athletes in town. That could be a tough gig. The moment he struggles, some fans might be calling for a switch. My hope is that he's great at it, so it allows Archie to do what he does so well. That can be a lot of pressure. I'd put Godley on this list too. I'm quietly hoping he turns into a solid number 3 behind Zach Greinke and Robbie Ray. Vince Marotta, Jared Dyson. He was brought in to be a fourth outfielder ideally, but will have to start the season as an everyday player thanks to the injury to Steven Souza Jr. If Dyson does what he does, play defense and steal bases, he can be a key contributor for Arizona this season. His championship experience with the Royals won't hurt either. John Gambadoro, Kettlemart. Jordan Bird, recent events have forced him into the spotlight as now he has the honor of being the replacement to the replacement of Martinez. For most of spring training, Dyson was being looked at as added depth and someone who could be dangerous on the bases. But now with the injury to Souza, Dyson will be the primary right fielder, and Mike Hazen's off-season roster construction gets tested right out of the gate. Souza was being looked at as someone who could ease the loss of Martinez. Now the hope is Dyson can do the same. Luke Lipinski, not really under the radar locally, but I think Zach Godley makes a name for himself nationally this season. Doug Franz, I think Zach Godley will fall just short of an all-star bid. Ron Wolfley, Zach Godley. He pitched very well when given the opportunity to produce. I think last year's experience will only make him better, and that kind of better might make him the best no. 5-starter in the NL. Paul Calvisi, Kettlemart. Breakout year coming in 3, 2, 1. He was vital when he was called up last year, flashed his glove and has a great deal of pop in his bat. Who are the D-backs relying upon the most that you have concern over? Dave Burns, probably Yoshihisa Hirano. How will his stuff translate and how long does it take him to adjust to the mound, the ball, the hitters, etc.? I'm concerned about A.J. Pollock's ability to stay healthy. I'm concerned about Jake Lamb hitting in the second half of the season and his sometimes shaky defense at third. Vince Marotta, A.J. Pollock. I'm pulling harder for him than anyone on the roster this season, but after 2 injury-affected seasons that have limited him to 124 games since the beginning of the 2016 season, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a lot of concern. The D-backs don't have a collection of natural outfielders on their roster, so Pollock needs to be the rock out there patrolling center field. John Gambadoro, Zach Greinke. Jordan Bird, he's one of the highest-paid players in all of baseball, and as difficult it can be to live up to those expectations, Greinke left us all wanting to see more out of him during last year's postseason. If you are going to have this much money tied up in one player, then he has to be able to carry the team at times.